Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be discussing the Alpharius book by Mike Brooks. This is the latest addition to the Primarch series. If you've read all the other ones before, you'll know what I'm on about. It's basically a book dedicated to each Primarch and their story, and well, every book tells a different story. But as I said, this one is the Alpharius one. This video is going to be full of spoilers, so if you haven't read the book, if you don't want to be spoiled, then please leave this video now. This is your first and only warning. So let's jump in and let's get talking. So let's open up with one of the biggest spoilers in the book, is that Alpharius was the first Primarch that was found. He was the first Primarch that was discovered, not Horus. His pod, the pods when the when the Primarch pods were spread out in the galaxy, his pod landed on Terra and was found by the Emperor almost instantly. In the opening pages of the book, it does state that all records are lies. Of course, it's very Alpha Legionnaire. He goes on to say, do you think the Emperor would be stupid to reveal one of his lost creations to his enemies so early on? That's the reason why he revealed Horus and through parades and the Primarchs have been found, because he knew he already had a Primarch at his disposal. He was present at most of his brothers being found, and one of the things he started to do was infiltrate their legions from the bottom up and work his way up. We all know that Primarchs have powers, every Primarch has some type of power. Magnus psychic and etc etc. Dawn, he can build a great castle. Perturabo, he fails all the time. But Alpharius's power is kind of like the Emperor's. He can force people to perceive him how he wants them to view him. Like the Emperor can look like a god to some people. He can look like the machine god to the Admech. There's actually a story where the Sister of Battle walks past him, and because they don't see any of the psychic stuff, they just see him as like an old man sat in a chair and stuff. So yes, he has that kind of power where he can make you see him as he wants you to see him. So this is why he was so successful at infiltrating the legions. Like he infiltrated the Thousand Sons, the Lunar Wolves when they were known as the Lunar Wolves, of course my boys, the Imperial Fists. It does state that one of the legions that Alpharius struggled to infiltrate was the Dark Angels, and if you've read the Dark Angel book, I think you'll understand why that is because it's put in that book that they have so many layers of secrets. Like really nobody knows what's going on. Of course, the lion's at the top of that pyramid, seeing what's going on, but no one knows what's going on. So if they do get infiltrated in any type of way, or an enemy gets on board, they can't use tactical stuff against them because no one really knows what the end goal is. They're basically just like ogres and onions. They've just got so many layers to their legion. Speaking more of the Dark Angels, or should I say the Lion actually, he actually makes a remark that the Lion should have been the War Master, and I think I'm coming around to that kind of standpoint. The more I read about the Lion, I know a lot of people dislike him and his personality, but the way he led and what he can do and the weapons at his disposal and the trust that the Emperor put in him, I actually think that he would have made the best War Master, maybe after Rogue Dawn, because we all know Dawn became the de facto War Master after Horus betrayed the Emperor. It also mentions that he aided the Lion during the Ragdan Crusades as well, which I really hope that Black Library or GW or someone actually does a full series to on its own, because that is an epic tale within itself. Some more interesting lore is that Alpharius technically started the Blood Games. For those of you who don't know what the Blood Games is, it's where the Custodes come up with ways to infiltrate the palace to get close to the Emperor so they can go back and correct those mistakes. They basically get Xenos, they get heretics, they bring him in and they unleash him in the palace and see what damage they can do. So if that was a scenario, they know how to correct it. When I say he technically started the Blood Games, is because he actually infiltrated the palace himself, and he wanted to kill the Emperor in a game to basically show how vulnerable the defense of the Emperor was and kind of show up the Custodes, in my opinion. So he set up a trap to take out the Emperor. He was in a sniper position, and when the Emperor was coming down from his ship, he was going to snipe him off. But of course Valdor burst in like the Kool-Aid man, oh yeah, and he does Valdor stuff. At this point in the story, the only people that know of Alpharius' existence is Valdor, Malcador, and the Emperor. It's only them three. So, Valdor, knew what Alpharius was doing Alpharius stuff. Now, Valdor thinks he's thwarted his attempt, Alpharius' attempt on the Emperor, but then Alpharius, turns around and reveals that he basically hacked, all the gun defenses where the Emperor was about to land, and he could have just, wiped out the Emperor if he wanted to. So, Alpharius came up as the winner. So moving on to one of the most technical aspects of this book, and this is where you have to really hold on to your butts, because we are really going down the rabbit hole on this one. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, Valrak, what the hell is going on with Omegon? If Alpharius was found, then was Omegon also found with Alpharius? So Alpharius was the first Primarch to be discovered by the Emperor, and Omegon was the last Primarch to be discovered. Of course, Alpha and Omega. Who would have thunk it? Now, it was Alpharius who was the one who discovered Omegon. Not Horus, like in the old lore. We'll get to that in a second. It's described that when Alpharius found his twin, he was wearing that scale armor and wielding, the famous pale spear, as we all know Alpharius to be known for. But this is what actually happened. And again, get your brains out, because it gets very, very Alpha Legionnaire. So Alpharius was the one who discovered Omegon. It was not Horus. So the two decide to set up the discoverer of Omegon at the hands of Horus, but they do the old switcheroo with each other. So Omegon becomes Alpharius, and Alpharius becomes Omegon in name. Omegon, who is actually Alpharius, agrees that Alpharius, who is actually Omegon, will take full command of the Alpha Legion, while Omegon, who is actually Alpharius, will work in the shadows still. So when Horus finds the last Primarch, technically he is finding Alpharius, but it's really Omegon acting as Alpharius. The real Alpharius, who is now Omegon, is still not known. So what does this mean now for when Dawn was fighting Alpharius? So when he was fighting Alpharius and he killed him in the book Praetorian of Dawn, for those of you who didn't read that book, he basically chopped his hands off and he chopped his head off. He was actually killing Omegon and not Alpharius. Alpharius, the first Primarch to be discovered by the Emperor, the one who is hidden in the shadows, still in the shadows, is still alive at this moment of time in the Horus Heresy. I think the lore in this, the story in this, is an absolute masterpiece, if I say so myself. I'm sure some people will agree. But all the twists and turns, there's so much more in this. Again, this is just like a brief summary of the book and, talking about some of the main spoilers. But when the book comes out, I'm definitely going to be getting an Audible. For those of you who like reading it, I know probably a lot of you missed the chance to actually pick it up because of the 2500 and the scalpers and everything that goes along with these bloody limited edition books. But really, this is a book that I would massively suggest you pick up. It brings out a whole different light on the Alpha Legion, Omegon, Alpharius, and some of the interesting bits that are really going on at the Siege of Terror at this moment in time. Anyway, that's enough talking and waffling on from me. I want to say thank you to Yuvan for supplying me with all these spoilers and pictures of the pages and all like the interesting lore bits and stuff like that. You're an absolute legend, mate. Thank you so much. I would love to get your thoughts and feedback on this. What do you think? Post it down below and we can have a nice little talk down there as we always do. See you now. Have a great day and bye bye.